My name is Motsie Brooks. My husband John and my two children and I moved to Tarboro in July of 1964. I was raised a Baptist in the Baptist Church on Hosky. John was raised in the Methodist Church in Roxborough. But when we lived in Chapel Hill, we attended the Baptist Church. And when we lived in Birmingham, Alabama, we attended the Methodist Church. And when we came here, we visited various churches, but we found this Howard Memorial, the place that we felt like we belonged. When we were in Germany, by the way, when he was in the service, we attended the post chapels services, Protestant services there. And we also attended adult Sunday school class. There were only 4 members in that class, and all 4 were from North Carolina. Irving Stubbs was the minister when we joined Howard Memorial. My father became ill during that year and died the following year. Reverend Stubbs and the members of our church showed such loving kindness to me and my family during that time, and so many church members attended his funeral in Hosky, which happened to be on Thanksgiving Day, that I felt such love and comfort from people who had not even known me very long. We joined the Stamps Howard Sunday School class, which met upstairs at that time. Romaine Howard and Jane Merrill were the main teachers for the class, with another member occasionally filling in. They all were excellent teachers. Many years later, the class moved downstairs to the session room and is now known as the hobby class, for a beloved minister who served the church shortly before we came to Tarboro. My husband and I were fortunate to meet Wilford Hobby and his wife at 100th celebration, and we also met the Reverend Daniel Iverson that day of the 100th anniversary of our church. He wrote the hymn, Spirit of the Living God, that we sing every Sunday while serving at our church in the 1920s. Also in our Sunday school class was Jim Bramman. He was an optometrist, and he spent, once a year he went to South America to help people down there. And our Sunday school class would help send supplies down there. And hanging in that session room today are several little paintings of a young artist he met down there and wanted to sponsor, and we sent art supplies for him to use. The women of the church were a very active group when we came here. Not only did we cook supper for the men of the church's suppers each month, our board met each month. We had a general meeting of all women each month, and circles met in individual homes once a month with a Bible study presented. We often had projects such as making dresses for African children, tearing up bed sheets to roll up for bandages to send to some organizations in need. We held bazaars to sell fine crafts sent us from third world nations to help individuals there to make some income. We also attended other women of the church meetings in other Presbyterian churches, and they often came to Howard Memorial. Hurricane flood in September 1999. When Floyd descended upon us, our church was flooded. The benches were removed from the sanctuary to be restored. Groups, particularly from the north, came to Tarboro to help restore the buildings. We used the fellowship hall for Sunday services. Our church served a meal at least once a week for the different groups that came. One group that we took into the sanctuary, we also pointed out the plaque about Reverend Iverson's hymn. And all together they said in amazement, "We sang that this morning." Tarboro and our church were very blessed by the many people who came to make us whole again. Often they would attend our service on Sunday morning. On one such occasion, one of our church families invited the group to go for lunch at Abraham's buffet, including John and me. They were introduced to collards, and they'd never had them before. Evidently, collards were a big hit. According to the second plate, many filled only with collards. There were at least 20 individuals to be paid for that day. Members of our church prepared wonderful meals in appreciation for the groups that were helping us. One of the things I'd like to mention is our young people and some adults went to Appalachian one summer to help, to stay in their homes of the people, and they helped to paint and rebuild and do whatever they could for them. Later that December, we invited those people, and we brought those people, both adults and children, to Tarboro. They stayed in our homes and were here a few days. But what I best remember about them, one woman came, I met her as we were coming into church, and she was just beaming and just so happy. And she said, "Jane Mara fried an egg for me this morning." And it was like the most wonderful thing she had ever done. That was just fantastic. I would like to tell you about Janie Whaley, the first woman in our church to become an elder in 1971. And that Miriam Mayer and I were co-den mothers of Cub Scouts, and the meetings were held in what is now known as Burns Hall. And that I later had a Girl Scout group held in the same hall, and the senior scout who was my assistant was our current choir member, Linda Tharrington Goins, to let you know how our church has a long time encouraged scouting. And that after Miriam and I were no longer Cub Scout den mothers, Dee and Mabel Gaskell took over, and what a legacy they had left. Now we have Adam and Katie Schultz. I wanted to say something about the wonderful years John and I worked with the youth group, many who are now active members of today's Howard Memorial, and about all of the summer students who came here from Union Seminary. They were such a blessing for us, and we're a blessing to them. And I wanted to say something about all of the fantastic ministers who have served us over the years, and about Bible school over the years. Sometimes we had more than 60 in attendance. There are so many more memories I want to share, but there's no time for it now. Ask me sometime what else I would like to share. Thanks be to God.